Christophe Bouchou, himself a former winner in the Peugeot car a few years back. Bouchou leaves the pits. And here we are out on the track with Christophe Bouchou, something of a Le Mans expert in what is undoubtedly one of the two fastest cars here. The Mercedes and the Toyota have been fighting it out all through pre-qualifying, all through the long qualifying run-up to today's 4 p.m. start at Le Mans. Bouchou down to Tertre Rouge, clip the inside curve. It's a double apex here over a long period, and then out onto the Mulsanne straight, which, as you can see, is not as straight as all that. Now he's got a long run down to the first chicane, which is the right-hand chicane, and look at the closing speeds on the GTS cars. That's one of the Porsches, just passed him about 70 miles an hour quicker, right down through the gearbox, right and then left, onto the straight and heading down now to the second of the Mulsanne chicanes, which is a left, right, left. You have to be so careful through these chicanes not to damage the transmission, not to bang the wheels up on the curbs, to look out for loose gravel thrown up by less cautious drivers. Bouchou now doing over 330 kilometers an hour before he reaches the braking point. Down into the chicane, neatly, careful not to throw the car onto the curbs. He's got one of the BMWs, we can't see which one, in front of him. Yes, that's last year's model, entered now by the Japanese Go team that we saw spinning on the first lap, and over the crest. And down to the famous Mulsanne corner, very slow through here, an accelerating way now, up towards Indianapolis, and it was along here. Bouchou must think about this. It was along here in qualifying on Friday that Mark Webber, the Australian, had a terrifying flight when the aerodynamics on the Mercedes all went wrong and the car took off over a crest and literally flew through the air. Mercedes say they fixed that problem, put a lot of extra aerodynamics on the front. Webber's car did it again on Saturday morning warm-up, and that's what really led to that car being withdrawn. So only two Mercedes started, this car and the Schneider car. Anyway, safely through Indianapolis and Arnage, and pounding on now down the back section of the course, which eventually leads into the fast sweepers at the Porsche chicane. Bouchou closing on a group of traffic here, blasts inside the Porsche, but he's now closing up on one of the Toyotas. That's probably the number 3 car, the Japanese-driven car. Not quite as quick as Boutsen in number 1 and in number 2 and Brundle in number 1. Very crowded through here now. Everyone's got to find a way past. One of the Vipers disposed of by both these front-running cars. Bouchou up very close behind the Toyota. Early on in the race still, of course. It's still daylight. We've got nowhere near dusk on Saturday evening. And Katayama very sensibly lets him by. Across the start-finish line, the end of another lap.